So, Denis Villeneuve, I think I'm saying his name probably wrong. I can't remember how to spell it right now. Who did Arrival, excellent film. The one with the talking one, not the original one with Charlie Sheen. Blade Runner 2049, which was incredible, like look-wise, visually, wow. Batista, one of the greatest cameo spots in a movie I've ever seen. Sicario, and now he's doing Dune. He goes out there and he says all the Marvel movies, or these big blockbuster movies, the superhero genre is not the same, or it's like copy and paste. I don't have his quote in front of me, I'm driving. And I don't fully remember because I was like listening to a news feed. And basically, they're not good movies. And of course, the main focus is the MCU. All right. Let's clear something up. Before I even go into it, like I said, I like the guy's movies from what I've seen. But that's I don't even fully disagree with him. But the way he approached it, and Scorsese approached it, and Cinephiles, that's a minimalist stance. Okay, so Goodfellas is a weak version of Scarface or a wannabe Godfather. It's not. But when I hear Martin Scorsese say that, I can take his movies to do that. The Departed, it's an Irish Godfather. There's more to it, but no, let's simplify it. But they're not. They're excellent films. They got differences and stuff like that. Same with his movies. I could turn around like, Sicario is just a Mexican gangster cartel movie. Is there more to it? Sure, but who cares? Let's just say it's all the same, right? Here's my problem with these directors. They're doing it to get clout because 9 times out of 10, they're not making blockbuster films. And that is nothing against them. That is not saying a film has to be $1 billion in the box office to be great. Listen, Mars Attacks bombed in theaters. I freaking love that movie. I just watched it the other day on Netflix. I love that movie. I enjoy it. I find it funny. And it's not even like a guilty pleasure. No, I actually love that movie. I think that movie's awesome. So it's not about, it's this whole thing, or I got something against him. I can't wait to see Dune. I think this dude is like a monster when it comes to directing. As a matter of fact, Blade Runner 2049 with my boy Ryan Gosling in it and stuff, I think is one of the most well put together films I've seen in years. So you could try that crap if you want to, but you're going to be wrong. Like, oh, you're just a hater. No. My thing is I can't stand because these directors will say this thing to get them, because remember, Scorsese said it right around the time The Irishman was coming out. Now, I have not finished The Irishman. And now I know, with all those powerhouses, I'm going to tell you right now why I haven't finished it. Kind of boring. I don't hate it. I've gotten halfway through it. Just my one friend, he's like, oh, you got to watch it. It's great. Predator and all this other stuff. It's kind of boring to me. And I'm like, okay, I have to be in the mood for this. So sometimes if a movie is kind of boring me, but it's not bad, it's just boring. Not bad, just boring. I have to put myself in a certain mental headspace to watch it. And I was like, okay, I got to be in a mental headspace. But outside of that, I don't think the movie's bad. But this is the part where I'm like, they're not 100% wrong. First off, superheroes is not really a genre. I know some people will be like, comic book movies are a genre, because Hellboy is not a superhero. Hellboy is a detective, for example. Bullet to the Head is not a superhero. And even when you do the Marvel films themselves, Captain America dealt with espionage. Spider-Man is a coming-of-age story with a kid. And this is before I'm about to like actually show you where the copy and paste comes in. Hulk is a retelling of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like, so, Black Widow, spy movie, Shang-Chi, Kung Fu movie. So there's genres that happen to have superheroes in it. That's how they normally do it. DC normally does more of the traditional straight up superhero, but even then, usually people are more than one dimensional, so Batman is going to have a detective story. However, I do want to say this. Let's stop acting like Marvel doesn't do any copy and pasting whatsoever. Like, people are also trying to pull this, every movie is different. No, some of their movies are very different. A lot of their movies have a lot of similarities. Doctor Strange, for example, is Iron Man. There's even people, I remember me seeing, I was like, this feels like Iron Man. Smart mouth, face, hair, one does a master of mechanics, the other one's a master of mysticism. The ego, how they did the accident, the girl, like, you start to match things up. It starts to sell itself as, the invisible hand that's running the bad guy. So it really was the 10 rings or the fake version of the 10 rings. That stuff, right? A lot of times when people, you ask them what did they like about the movie, they're like, it was funny. Marvel has a formula. Even though Kevin Feige's like, I don't have a formula. Yes, you do. Your formula is to make people laugh. Sometimes you go overboard, but to make people laugh, to have a good time so they can ignore the smaller flaws. And make sure throughout you throw sprinkles of hard action in there. Doesn't mean the movie's bad. I mean, it's been a winning formula for, over a decade now. So it's not like it's a bad thing. But it is something there. Shang-Chi, Kung Fu movie. Now, when some people go, they never did anything like that. Even though I know these aren't really counting. When I look at Shang-Chi, I'm like, Iron Fist. There was a movie with martial arts and it was Marvel character. Not saying that it's the same, but I can match feelings. But Marvel does have a formula. That doesn't mean their movies are bad or something like that, but they honestly do have a formula that they follow. It's a lot too many of the characters quip. They're quipping and saying jokes. A lot of them are like shades of Iron Man. I remember one of the first things I loved about Black Panther was the fact that he didn't quip. I'm like, Iron Man quips, Spider-Man quips. Everyone does. Now, that doesn't mean they do everything bad. It's just that's something that I have noticed and I'm kind of getting tired of with all the jokey joke. But that doesn't mean I'm done with it. You know what I mean? So let's stop acting like it's not a copy and paste to some degree, because it is. Inside of that, do they do different stuff? Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of their most unique films ever. Okay? So I'm not, like, Captain America stuff, Winter Soldier things, super unique. Even Shang-Chi, like I said, Kung Fu, different from anything you see. So I'm not sitting here saying that everything they do is copy paste or bad, but some of their movies, when you start to watch them back to back, there is some things where you start to go, this is kind of like the same movie. Not all of them, just some of them. Like how I would say 98% of the first outings to Marvel films, they're fighting a villain with pretty much the same exact abilities as them. And if you don't, just to show you what I mean by there is some truth to what they said, I don't agree with the extreme. Okay? Now, if you're wondering, no way, geek. Okay. Iron Man 1, he fought a bigger version of Iron Man. Ant-Man, he fought Yellow Jacket, who was shrinking just like him with guns. Captain America, Red Skull, both super soldiers. Panther fought Killmonger in the Golden Jaguar outfit. Guardians fought someone a little different, which made Guardians feel different. I think that's one of the reasons why, maybe subconsciously, why I like Guardians so much. Besides, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy anyway. Oh, you still don't believe? You need more examples? Hulk. Fought Big Hulk. Or a Hulk-like villain. Even some of the TV shows. WandaVision. Fought a witch. Captain Marvel fought the Kree Overmind. Similar abilities in that aspect. Just trying to think. I can't remember all the Marvel movies right now. So, but I just named a few. There's still more. Doctor Strange fought Calicius, who was a bad wizard. So, yeah. If you start looking at their first outings, they normally fight a character who's like the dark mirror version of themselves. And they've done it like over and over and over again, and very rarely have they broken away from that formula. There's only like a couple where that big final boss is not a dark mirror version of himself. It's a tried and true thing that seems to work for them, so they keep doing it. So, once again, I'm not knocking it on that point. But then minimize it and say that they're all copy and paste, then I start to raise the question. What Marvel movies did you watch? Did you watch like the 70s Captain America, the 2001 or 2000 X-Men, and maybe Spider-Man 3? And came to this conclusion? What about Blade? Because that's the other factor that gets on my nerves. A lot of times when they're talking, and I'm not saying you got to watch all the movies, but you're lucky if they've watched 3 of the MCU or any of these modern movies before they do their hot take. Now, in closing, my final thing is, who the hell cares what Martin Scorsese and Denis Villeneuve has to say about Marvel movies? Why do people make it a big deal? I've seen some DC places like, see, they agreed to Marvels. I'm like, they're talking about you too. Because your movies are blockbusters too. And whether MCU heads want to deal with it or not, guess what? BVS still did over 800 million. And if you say, well, BVS should have did $1 billion. Okay. If you want to pull that, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite Marvel products. Should have did $1 billion. Black Panther did it. Captain Marvel did it. Spider-Man, when they did Homecoming, should have did $1 billion. See what I did there? See how I can just randomly say something should have did $1 billion? And you might be like, Spider-Man, trust me, you can look it up yourself, because I'm tired of having to keep repeating this to this people. Spider-Man's the #1 superhero. He's higher than in sales, merchandise, popularity. Spider-Man is more popular than Batman and Superman. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. Spider-Man for decades now has cleared $1 billion, whether he has a movie or not, as a character every year. Batman clears like 430. Spider-Man does like $1 billion. Like, it's not even close to how ridiculous popular Spider-Man is. It's like not even close. And I don't mean, like, people are making these big deals about these guys. I don't care. Why do you care what they have to say? Because they're an important director? Go direct your movie. Let's see if your movie does a blockbuster. But you're not in it for that. You're in it for the art, which is fine. But shut up. Like, I'm so sick of them. And they're always like, what do you think of the Marvel movies? Like, they want to get that riled up. And they're only doing it to promote their movie, because the trend is hate Marvel. People will watch, because then you're gonna have probably about 3 types of people. You're gonna have the people who are cinephiles who think all the Marvel movies are bad just because they're cinephiles and they think they're better than everyone else, and they're wannabe critics. Then you got the people who just hate Marvel or whatever, and they're fans of those people, the directors, so they're gonna see it because they're fans of real movies, air quotes. Then you get the final category, the people who will hate watch and go, I'm going to watch your movie and it better be perfect, because if it's not perfect, I'm coming at you. And they'll come at them on Twitter and be like, well, your movie did this or did that. Not realizing, well, they don't care. You paid them. They don't care about your opinion. So, do these people's opinions matter to you guys? Because I don't care. Oh, you didn't like the movie. Well, the movie's not for everyone. And I've seen some people that are like, well, they're just a bunch of haters. They're haters. No, the movie's not for everyone. I think Shang-Chi is okay, but I see people all over the place swearing that movie is like the greatest single outing Marvel has ever had. And I'm like, to me, that title is between Guardians and Black Panther. But yet people are like, it's like the best. It has high ratings on the thing. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. I don't really care what these directors say. I wish they kind of shut up, because go direct your movie and promote your movie. Stop. Also, I just find it disrespectful that you're going to come at your peers, not because they did something wrong, because they do a type of movie and you decide not to. That's like you're going to come at somebody because they did this type of movie and the movie makes a lot of money, so it's trash. Like, I don't know, it's corny to me. Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.